the exact same. So now on the A side again, is that an issue for Impunity? Do we think that the drafting has that big of an impact?
I mean, it could be. I'm talking about the B side. I actually talked to FlashX quite extensively before the tournament even started regarding the B side going into draft. It just is so strong, especially in 2.10, because not only you're able to secure 2 power picks in your first and second picks, but leaving your last pick as a counter pick and having that potential to adapt at the very last second, means that these teams that have so many different heroes that they can go for, very deep hero pools, have an advantage on the B side.
Yeah, Impunity needs to ban Black Feather here, because if they don't, Kraken's going to pick up the Black Feather, and then they potentially can play Fortress, and that's a comp that they played really well. So Black Feather will be taken off the board here, and now Kraken has Arden up, and they can save it.
Is this going to be a Kestrel? Is this going to be a Kestrel? They still have it open. They have the Lyra with it. Against the Rona, it's a little risky, because if you don't snowball by taking turrets throughout the mid game, late game when Rona jumps on you, you're a little bit vulnerable. But Impunity played it so well yesterday, and they just seized one turret after another.
They can do Celeste and Weapon Baptiste again if they want, and that can give some good peel for the Celeste. And let's see if they're going to go ahead and fall on that, or they're going to pick something that can counter the Rona here, because Vox is off the board. So Rona looks really good into a lot of squishy carries right now.
Yeah, the Rona pick, there's going to be, Impunity will have to come up with something to deal with it. Obviously, there are answers to it. We've seen there be answers to it, but it is still a very strong, dominant pick on update 2.10. And it's without the Black Feather there, and without the pedal they just used to deal with the Rona, I think they might have a much more difficult time dealing with it. But this is a matchup we've seen a couple of times now, the Celeste versus the Rona. Typically, you would expect Rona to be able to come out on top because of the dive, but in this series, Celeste has been the one getting the upper hand.
So they're going to pick Weapon Baptiste here or Glaive. They actually have played Glaive, or actually, no, Kraken has played Glaive.
Yep.
But let's see, Impunity has that. But Glaive doesn't look that hot right now. Right now, I think Weapon Baptiste is probably their best option, because they played it so well with the Celeste combination.
I want to see the Weapon Baptiste again. I want to see that spicy little pick coming on through.
I mean, and it's almost one of those things where they were able to beat Kraken with it
there it is.
once. Now just say, you know what? Can you deal with this? Can you beat us with this pick? Until you prove that it can be beaten, why not just keep running it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Impunity locking it in once more.
The thing about picks like this that people don't expect is the first time you go up against it, it's a little bit of a surprise. You don't know how to deal with it. The second time, you've seen it before, you should have a strategy and a plan going up against it. So Kraken, this is the last pick that they have here that they can go with to counter the Baptiste weapon power.
At the same time, though, they've seen it. Kraken has seen it, like you mentioned. If they start to build armor early on, you just switch it up and go right back to a double crystal power composition.
That's actually a great point, because last time they played against it with the Rona, they went Aegis into Shiver Steel. And I was specifically saying that had he gone into a Metal Jacket rather than the Shiver Steel, he would have been durable enough to kill the Celeste before he dropped too low from the weapon power Baptiste damage.
What could work for Kraken is potentially Rhyme and just completely get a root, get a Rona on top of that Baptiste, blow out the Baptiste or the Celeste. Whoever you root, you kill.
Give me Reza.
Could do that. Reza is a little more mobile. However, Baptiste is counter mobile. With the Ordain, he can lock the Reza down, which makes it a little risky. And yep, they're going with Rhyme. Boom, right there. So that's actually a really solid comp, because they can now focus the Baptiste and just destroy him.
Look at these compositions. This is such an interesting game. If it does go weapon power on the Baptiste. Also, Rhyme, we've been talking about how heavily he was nerfed coming into 2.10. We're still seeing him picked in specific scenarios. What are our thoughts on these drafts, boys? How do we feel this one's going to be panning out? We'll start with you this time, Bacon.
This is probably one of the drafts that, if I had to predict drafts for all of the worlds, this would not be anywhere near on my radar, because these picks are fairly unconventional, and only from these two teams are we going to see something like this.
I'll go with Impunity here just because they have the Celeste, they have the Lyra, they can use their range advantage to counter the Rhyme, who is very susceptible to long range heroes. So I'm going to go with Impunity.
All right, Impunity.
I'm going to say Impunity for pretty much exactly the same reasons, the range advantage.
I'm going to Kraken because Rhyme is really good. Let's see those combos happen, and let's see if Kraken can take it to a best of 5.
All right, Sweejay wants a full 5-game series. We'll see if that is going to come to pass. It's time to jump into game number 4 of our second quarterfinal. It's time to see Kraken against Impunity for the 4th time today.
Here we go. Impunity, can they break the Arden run? Can they stop the unstoppable pick? It seems improbable, but Kraken, can they come back? This Rhyme, we've not seen it for a long time. but can it win again?
2.10 is Potato Rhyme. Remember that. 2.10 is kind of Potato Rhyme, but he is good into melee heroes. He is good into the likes of Batiste. I wouldn't be surprised to potentially see a double CP flex here. That's the joy of Batiste. They've got both that flexibility of a weapon power and a CP build path. You see the Rhyme come out, suddenly you might want to keep your range in general. Start using CP bad mojos, and obviously having the ranged Celeste coming out, and then they play that full ranged game. That could be a real thing that happens here.
Very well could be. We know who the crowd's behind. Impunity.
It's double CP, there we go.
Double crystal power, kind of speciality from SEA. We see a fair bit. This is Impunity's chance now to go to the semi-finals. If they win this game, it'll be a 3-1, but can Kraken take it to a game 5? We'll have to wait and find out.
I got way too happy about that.
It's okay.
I got way too happy about that prediction. They do start from the inside. We've seen this a lot from teams, especially the East Asian and Southeast Asian teams. They like to start at the Elder Treant and then rotate outwards to their jungle. And you can get punished by this by a very quick jungle clear, but no teams have been sort of brave enough to go for that invade. And so Impunity realize that goes down. They're just going to reset, head back to safe farming. Now, the reason that the CP Batiste flexes well here is simply because you want to keep your range against the Rhyme. If you play Weapon Power Batiste, you're playing right into the Rhyme and Rona. They have great melee dueling potential, and they can very easily take you on. CP Batiste gives you that ranged power of having the bad mojos. You play a little bit like a shorter range Celeste. You just spam those skill shots, and it's very difficult then, apart from a gauntlet engage, to find those good engages for Team Kraken. So I love that flexibility that the Batiste offers the draft here for Impunity. And again, it's another one of these examples of Impunity having the ability to experiment and be flexible with the way they play.
They're going to go straight for the Elder Treant yet again. Oh!
Close there. Double Elder Treant though for Kraken, rotating on respawn. Great rotations here in the jungle for these guys. Going to give them that small golden experience advantage that prioritizing the Elder Treant does.
I live for Lyra Sigil Steals.
Everyone loves a Lyra Sigil Steal, my friend.
Happens. We haven't seen any of this game, this series, unfortunately.
So often when people talk about doubling up on the same damage, oh, that's really bad because it's easy to itemize defensively against it. There's only really one item that you can pick up as a carry that gives you defensive shielding, which is Aegis. And unless you want to go for another slot of tier 2 shielding just to prioritize defense, then obviously you're limited to what you can buy. But having a double CP means you don't have to really buy armor, which means it opens up another slot for you to pick up an aggressive item, an offensive item. That's often why people say that doubling up on a damage type is worse, simply because you give your opponents more flexibility in what they want to pick in terms of offensive items. They can open up more slots, and that means we could see even a full 3-item Rona before she even has to consider any extra shielding on top of the Aegis.
Team Kraken with perfect control early game. This is the kind of aggression that I wanted to see from them, which is just contesting the Elder Treant time and time again. But the thing is, Impunity can't really do that right now. They kind of have to scale up. That's what this what this Batiste and what this Celeste is going to do, and what they do best as well.
I love that they froze the lane so well there, just in front of their turret, while Mua rotated and shared those backs early on. Now she's going to get that full lane minions. She didn't really lose much on that rotation, and she got the gold, or he got the gold from the back there as well. So it was a really nice freeze by Team Kraken, and unfortunately Quarterfinals didn't have the opportunity to push that in too far.
There's a lot of CC coming out from Impunity as well that you can lay on top of each other.
Yeah, but that's why Aegis becomes even better, right? Because you've got double reflex block, you've got the obviously you're gonna need a Crucible this game too, but plenty of CC. You're completely right.
Yeah, Ordained straight into a core collapse. Nowhere you're gonna run. Another Elder Treant taken by Team Kraken. Impunity did want to try and contest that one, but right now they are behind in gold and behind on caps also. Look at the aggression. Yeah, exactly what we kind of knew them for anyway. I mean, Kraken, maybe they've been a bit hesitant to come into this one, but this is their final chance to take this to a game 5. They lose here, Impunity go through to the semi-finals tomorrow.
Yeah, they need to continue this beyond just trying to steal camps. They need to look for fights. They need to go for gold miner. They need to continue to look to put pressure. That's a great amount of pressure onto Mua.
Oh, has to pop the flask. Very, very close. There's the CC chain that I was talking about. Abla is going to rotate up towards the lane as well. And so we haven't discussed yet, Xgander, is the ability for Impunity to actually take turrets from range. It's going to be very hard for Kraken to actually do even chip damage to Impunity's turrets unless they actually push the wave completely up there and Impunity are rotated out of the lane.
Yeah, really, really good point there, Jaws, because obviously as a triple melee composition, you put yourself in the firing line a bit more readily when trying to siege turrets, which is often why when you have these kind of compositions, you need to look for Gold Miner to force a fight to then snowball that into going for a siege onto a turret. Impunity look like they're trying to scale up this Celeste as quickly as possible, though. Massive CS advantages. Oh, wait a second.
Uh-oh. BC might be a little bit caught out. Valkyrie goes wide as he pop the boots. Ordain's going to be there as well. Bad Mojo 1 to 3.
There we go.
Nice fearsome shade as well. Hits 3 members. Bright Bulwark is going to snare them as well. No kills going either way just yet.
Quarterfinals finishing up the Crucible first means that the Valkyrie can get blocked. Valkyrie can be super impactful against the likes of Celeste, especially if you get the stun. But Impunity seem to be weathering this early storm as much as they can.
Into the fray, straight on top of the Celeste. Did get away using that sigil put out from Quarterfinals. Lyra is going to be such a pain, especially when it gets the next couple of levels as well. Thing is, Mr. Dog is slightly ahead in XP in that regard as well. Got to keep that in mind.
He has been sharing the jungle experience from those heavy, aggressive jungle rotations.
Into the fray, straight on top of QC once more. That damage is ridiculous. Nice core collapse onto 2. Solar Storm as well. It's going to hit Mua, but the Winter Spires are going to trade back a lot of damage as well. Ordain is there once again. Mua's a little bit caught out. Has got into the fray to get out of there if he chooses to use it. Just waits out the duration. They're going to reset.
Fountain down right now for Team Kraken. Impunity have that regeneration of the Lyra. They're going to look for a siege onto this turret. They have a good opportunity to do so. The supernovas start ticking.
Oh, Mu is so low. Fearsome Shade doesn't quite catch him either. Mr. Dog is sent running. But look at how healthy that turret is right now. That's a 6 HP. Now you're going to be able to just a couple of Heliogens should finish it off, and that'll be the first turret going down to Impunity.
Weathering that early Kraken aggression, and Kraken, they had such good early jungle rotations. Elder Treant on respawn, looking for pressure into the Impunity jungle, but Impunity didn't give them an inch. They didn't make any silly decisions. They didn't take fights that they knew that they couldn't win. And it came down to that lane brawl, and Impunity weathered it out and take the first turret. Because their siege is just that much better, it's much easier for Impunity to push onto a turret than it is for Team Kraken. This is a risk of a triple melee composition. A lot of it revolves around your ability to draw the enemy into a team fight. That's why you need to consider early gold miners. That's why you need to consider pushing into the enemy crystal sentry. A lot like Cloud9 does. They always do this. They make the enemy team come to them. Kraken haven't yet found that, and Impunity are relishing the opportunity for time to farm up.
Well, all the key cooldowns are available now. Dog, he has got that Gauntlet. They have got that Valkyrie, but the early prioritization from Quarterfinals on that Crucible is going to stop a lot of that CC as well. And even DefQ has picked up his own reflex block. Oh, right, Bulwark used fairly early there. This could be pretty big. Valkyrie doesn't quite land. Nice fearsome shape for the disengage yet again. DefQ has been on point. There's the Gauntlet. Gets blocked! Impunity are now going to be able to march forward. Solar Storm hitting 3 members. They're going to be able to push forwards here. Dragon's Eye still stacking up. Can't quite find anything else though. They are in a corridor. Those Winter Spires are going to start to hurt. Into the fray used. Nice snare. And in fact, the Ordain isn't going to get the stun onto Mua just yet. I mean, Mr. Dog still charging forwards, but Heliogenesis are raining down. The sustains there from the Lyra. Nice stun, uses the Ordain as well. First blood to Impunity. Fearsome Shade sends Mua packing as well. Kraken, they lose another member. A double kill for Creasy, and that'll be Quarterfinals cornering Mua as well. This could be an extremely early ace. Ordain is there. Triple kill for Creasy, and Impunity start the game off strong.
And Impunity know exactly how to play around the compositions that Kraken are throwing them, pacing backwards, disengaging when Rona drives in, and then when Rona's caught with no movement left, they're able to pace back and use those supernovas and the CC that they have. Crucible is a massive item for Mr. Dog right now. I think the most impactful part of that last fight was DefQ's two impactful parts. DefQ's original Fearsome Shade, followed by the Gauntlet cancel, which I think was from an Ordained. The only way I think you can cancel the Gauntlet was from the Ordained. You can do it with Bright Bulwark as well, but I believe DefQ threw down on Ordained on the Gauntlet cast.
Here we go, Impunity rotating back up the lane now. Valkyrie is available, and Gauntlet is up in 10 seconds as well. Nice stun, core collapse onto Mua. Has to use it into the fray to get out of the action. Impunity now playing very aggressive. They know they've got the power spikes, Eve of Harvest online as well. as that piercing shard. So QC's doing a lot of damage at this time in the game.
Blockwork first here for DefQ as well. He's looking to get lots and lots of Ordains off. He's mainly looking to sort of protect and disengage for Kisi. He's not looking to go for the damage from the Shattered Glass because it's against the heavy Bruiser team. There's the block.
Fearsome Shade's going to get blocked. There comes the Gauntlet as well. The cage is being laid down. Creasy in a 1v3. Can't quite find the core class, but he's still alive. He trades 1-for-1 in the end. Scoundrel, how did he do that? DefQ's moving forwards. Mua is going to have to retreat here. Babala, even him. Oh, Elder Tree. Oh, the tree end. That was so close, but it doesn't matter. Those bad mojos are already starting to stack up. Using the boots to get a little bit of distance. Nice route. Babala is invincible at this moment in time, but another Fearsome Shade rattles through Team Kraken into the fray, used to jump on top of DefQ. Mua finds his first kill of the game, and they're just going to chase Quarterfinals around. A little bit too late for the ace. Should be able to get out with a passageway, but they're just going to keep following this one up.
Yeah, not going to get the ace here. Quarterfinals should be able to get away as much as Mua wants to stress down. Oh, I tell you why Celeste can do that. This is a composition from Team Kraken that group up onto one target. They dive one target, they group up, all three of them are in a very small area. Celeste has got both a Dragon's Eye and an Eve of Harvest. People grouping up on top of her, it just gives her an easy area to land a Supernova. Cast Heliogenesis on yourself, cast Core Collapse on yourself, cast Heliogenesis on yourself, you get huge damage, you get huge regeneration, and that's why Celeste was able to survive that long. And there's obviously no Poison Shiv as Rona goes for a Serpent's Mask, so there's not going to be any reduction to that healing coming out from the Celeste. So she's just able to spam those Heliogenesis, survive for actually a pretty long time by herself. It was a great fountain by Quarterfinals nonetheless. And that's one of the reasons I think that also this composition does well from Impunity. You have a Lyra and a Celeste with Eve of Harvest. Poison Shiv is almost a necessity sometimes in these situations because the sustain is very, very strong.
Scary situation now as DefQ's actually picked up the Echo. This boot camp is paying off Scoundrel. You can see it in Impunity's play. Kraken don't have an Echo of their own just yet. Mr. Dog, only a few hundred gold off actually completing it. Impunity with the advantage in that regard.
Impunity looking complete control here, 3,000 gold in the lead, and again, DefQ has gone for the Echo. Look at this. This is a guy that is committed to defending.
Gauntlet's going to get blocked by the Crucible. Quarterfinals out of the fight, same as DefQ. He's going to be able to get away using those boots. Mu did try and follow on up with the Into the Fray, but had to back off as the rest of his team were trapped up in the lane.
This is like a half CP, half utility. It's like two captains, but the second captain deals a bit of damage at the same time.
Another Ordain lands on Bubbler. Is going to let it time out. Valkyrie still available. Is going to get... did end up going a little bit wide as well, and this could be Impunity with the advantage here. They are moving forwards. Winter Spires are landing. Another Ordain onto Bubbler. Core Collapse doesn't end up landing. Mua jumps straight in. The Red Mist is going to turn 3 people alive, but the Fearsome Shade was good. Another one lands as well. That sends Dog packing, and QC once more left all alone by the 5, but the Core Collapse onto 2 people ends up killing Mr. Dog off, and now it's Mua, the last carry alive for Team Kraken, to clear up this fight, or at least try to. Bubble is going crazy low, but QC is just surviving the entirety. The sustain coming out from the Celeste is way too much for them to deal with. Babala is going to go down. A double kill and an ace for Queasy, and they're going to break open the base of Team Kraken.
There's nothing that Team Kraken can do here. Absolutely nothing. The sustain is just getting to unbelievable levels. The Echo from DefQ is so good at disengaging. Let's take a look again. The first Fearsome Shade was blocked, but the Echo comes out, and the next one disengages. Yes, it disengages towards Celeste, but she's able to reset and get this great Core Collapse off that allows their DefQ to get onto the sigil and regenerate. And this is where that sustain comes through for Impunity. There is no Poison Shiv, no way to stop the healing. You do have the mortal wounds from the Rona, but it is a limited application. You get it every so often. It's not like you can apply it consistently. So you have to make sure that you apply that mortal wounds and then go for the burst. They're not getting that. They're not getting that.
The crowd just explodes as soon as Impunity won that fight. Team Kraken now going for another engagement. It seems they just want to fight. There's the Gauntlet. The Crucible is going to block it. Red Mist onto 3 people. Another Gauntlet comes down as well. Quarterfinals going to get trapped off. Fearsome Shade onto 3 people. Miss F Dog is going solo. Nice Solar Storm as well. Here's 3. And Creasy just destroying Pablo in the back line. The shield from Vanguard is going to keep him alive for the time being. Heliogenesis for the double kill. And DefQ should just be able to clean up Mua here as well. Ordain's going to trap him in place. And Quarterfinals is just they're just playing with their food at this current moment. moment in time. Another ace could come through as well, unless he can get out.
Oh, there's the portal.
Portal ordains Mua, wrong place, wrong time, sustain from the Serpent's Mask, but it's not gonna matter. An ace for Impunity.
Ace after ace, every step up the ladder to land your Singapore home team in the semi-finals. What incredible performances across this semi-finals. They've had unbelievable drafts, great counters, great theory crafting. And this is a team that was never really expected to go this far, but they have shown everybody up. Everybody. Analysts, players, teams from across the globe, Singapore are just this close to finding themselves in the semi-finals of the Vainglory World Championships.
And we are this close as well to seeing Playoff Beard have his beard shaved on stage as well. Kraken is being taken though, ex-Scoundrel. Look at where Babalab is positioning right here, and you can see Mua is nowhere near either. This is going to be a miracle steal. Nice block on the Fearsome Shade.
There we go.
But Impunity secure it. Ordain is going to come down, and this is where they need to fight by time for the Kraken. Team Kraken though, trying to at least chip it down for the time being. Impunity very hesitant right now to actually go for the full-on engage.
Oh, look at the heal from Lyra now as well. Fully stacked, everybody back to full health. They're going
Passageway
aggressive.
into the Bright Bulwark as well. The Rhine gets snared up. They lay the cage down to stop them going for the engagement. QC walks into it, gets stunned up. Ordained onto the dog. Core Collapse actually lands as well onto Babbler. This team fight, the longer it extends, the more strong QC gets as well. Core Collapse, Solar Storm onto 3 members. Another Heliogenesis secures the kill. Impunity setting their sights on the semi-finals. Fine to the dog, the only member left alive. And remember, the Kraken is destroying Team Kraken's base. He's going to fall in the end to a bad mojo. The crowd erupts. The ace comes through.
In a paradoxical turn of events, the Kraken takes down Team Kraken. The mad scientists, Quarterfinals and Impunity. Unbelievable performance. They have looked incredible.
Team Kraken falls and Impunity make it to the semi-finals.